I'm the happiest man on the planet Earth. So people may take this, and as so many people do, we live in a very weakened society. So when they hear a throwback guy like me from back in the ancient days of Garanimals, they often think this guy is just whatever. So if you think that I'm some unhappy guy, you're wrong. Having lived the life I've lived and seeing the other side, not being afraid to attack what was in front of me, has made me happy. So basically, I just don't walk around with a daggone smile on my face all the damn time. So, Merry Christmas. But basically, what the dark side is we all have a cookie jar, and we all have a jar of It's a jar of man, where it just ain't going right. And in Hell Week, what they do in Hell Week, because this is where I really went to the dark side. What they do in Hell Week is they design Hell Week to find your flaws. And they do a really good job of that. It's 130 hours of continuous training. You may get 2 hours of sleep. And they beat the shit out of you and find everything wrong with your mentality. And then they start Hell Week. And that's the beauty of it. And for me, I'm not some naturally God-given guy. I don't have a great bit of talent in anything. So what got me through horrible times was the dark side. My name is David Goggins. I created Goggins. Goggins is the guy that can take anything you put in front of him. You want to break my motherfucking legs? So be it. I have a way of going to a place like I did in that race, where all the pain and suffering that they put on top of me in Hell Week, I will reverse that pain and suffering, and I will take your soul. So every instructor that put me through BUD/S, my job, what drove me, was I wanted you to go home that night after you beat the living shit out of me, and I smiled in your face. I wanted you to feel worse than I did, and you were going home to a nice warm bed with your wife or your kids and a nice meal, and I was still out there in the grip, suffering for another 100 hours. I wanted you to think about me, knowing that I'm comfortable, being very unfucking comfortable. And I want you to think about when you went through fucking Hell Week, how uncomfortable you were and how bad you wanted to quit, knowing I'm not thinking that fucking way. So the dark side is something that I've designed. It's an evil place I can go that very few things can hurt me. I use the hurt you're trying to put on me, I flip it upside down and use it. You trying to use it for kryptonite? No, it's power pillars for me. I'm using it for strength. The things I don't enjoy that I still do, that's where growth is at. And that's, for me, the only place growth is at is in that uncomfortable zone. So you want to be normal. So you just want to be like everybody else that roams the world, not knowing the power that's in them, being fine with being mediocre. You want to go back to who you were, huh, David? And I'm like, that, man. I want my mind to know who's in charge. So for the better part of 26 years, my mind was in charge of me, which is why I made all these horrible decisions. But once you take control of your mind, you start making decisions for yourself versus your mind making decisions for you. So basically, a lot of us aren't prepared for life. We get up willy-nilly and this whole life is going to happen. It is going to happen, but it's going to happen with a prepared mind or an unprepared mind. Most people attack life with an unprepared mind. What I do is I try to account for all things that could happen, might happen, probably will happen, and then the unknowns. So basically, I can't account for everything, but I do know there could be some things that come up in life that you need to be ready for. I know for a fact I'm not going to want to work out tomorrow. Therefore, I'm preparing my mind for that. I don't want to do that. I know tomorrow will come with some difficult decisions to make. It may come with getting a phone call saying someone died, this happened, that happened. I'm always preparing myself, not in a morbid way, but just like, look, man, be ready for life. Don't let life just start attacking you left and right. Make sure that you start to build a mental armor, so then you're ready for life. And that comes with a very physical way, and the physical helps out the mental. I realized at a young age how to change myself was through discipline. And the military didn't teach me that. It was something I realized I had zero discipline, zero self-discipline. And I realized I have to start developing this. And I started really because I was horrible at reading and I was horrible at writing. I have so many learning disabilities, it's not even funny. So I just sit down at the table and spent so much time in this, reading and writing and learning. And that kind of translated over to my self-discipline with working out. So that's where it started. I started when I was about 16 years old and said, well, I'm a 4th grade reading level. Let me go ahead now and start really focusing, because I'm not gonna get in the military because I got past the test.
Yeah.
So that's where it started for me. It's more important to own your weaknesses. You have to really triple down on those, man. Because why? You want to become a full human being. We like to run away from weaknesses. Like for instance, if you're good at running, all you want to do is run. If you're great at reading, you have several books. But we don't do those things that we're not good at. So for me, I realized, man, like I keep on running away from these things I'm not good at. I have to dive into these things. I have to become one with these things, and that's what happened. And so I own them both.
Yeah.
And I talk very openly about them both. I see a whole bunch of people walking around out here who have no idea how talented they truly are. Now I'm talking about talent, like some God-given ability. Talent that sometimes you have to hone, you have to work on, and you have to harness yourself. And they just walk around just on their phones, just clueless to how powerful they are.
E, did you see Power? Absolutely not. Did you see the Game of Thrones? Absolutely not. I'm trying to blow up. Many of you are not where you're supposed to be, not because you're not gifted. You have absolutely no discipline.
There are two kinds of people. There's the type of person who says, I'm going to wait till I feel like it before I do it. And then there's a person who says, I've got to do it so that I feel like it. One will never get anything done because they're still waiting to feel the moment to move. And the other person says, no, I need to move, and then I will begin to feel the moment.
Discipline means taking the hard road, the uphill road, to do what's right. So often the easy path that calls to us, to be weak for that moment, to break down for that moment, to give in to the desire and the short-term gratification. But the discipline will not allow that. The discipline calls for strength and fortitude and will. It won't accept weakness. It won't tolerate another breakdown. The discipline can seem like it's your worst enemy, but the reality is, discipline is your best friend. It will take care of you like nothing else can. And it'll put you on that path to freedom. You have to decide that you are going to be in control, that you are going to do what you want to do. Weakness doesn't get a vote. Laziness doesn't get a vote. Everyone wants some life hack that eliminates the need to do the work, but that does not exist. No, you have to do the work. You've got to hold the line. You've got to make it happen.
People who win can do and people who lose talk You can win if you choose to learn the things that you need to do and then can do them. That's reality. That's the nobody wants to admit, because admitting so means that you have to take responsibility for where you are currently. And you have to say, I am where I am currently because I didn't do X, Y, and Z. And guess what? That fucking hurts a little bit. But once you accept that truth, you are able to then move forward with the actions required to get you to where you want to go.
Sometimes you have to do what you don't want to do so you can live like you want to live. So if it's going to help you reach your goal, even if you don't like it, do it anyway. What's your why? You need a why. Why do you need a why? Because some days you're going to look at that alarm clock and it's going to say 6, and 6 is the time you wake up, and you're going to look again, it's going to say 6:05, and you're going to say, I don't want to get up. But that why is going to say, push yourself, get up.
Every day I wake up, I don't just run a mile, 2 miles. It's the one thing I hate the most to do, and I do it like I love it. 250, 60, 70, 300-mile runs at one time, no sleep. And every step, when I get to the, think about this, I get to the fucking start line, cussing at Jennifer. Why the fuck am I here? I hate this shit. After 70 some hours of running, every fucking question I ever had is answered. Every question I had is answered. I cap success. People go, what do you mean you cap success? For me to be who I am, so when I go smoke jump, I'm smoke jump 3 to 4 months out of the year, sometimes 5.
Could you, just for those that aren't educated about, just like give us a brief description of what smoke jumping entails?
So basically, you jump into fires, not into them, but you jump by fires that people can't get to.
So out of planes and helicopters.
Right, out of planes,
fast line.
parachute. It's all parachuting. Mm-hmm. So you parachute out of airplanes and then you fight the fire. You and sometimes 4 other guys or maybe 8 other guys and gals, and you're putting this fire out. So I lose millions of dollars every summer to do this. It blows people's minds. Why the hell are you doing this?
And you're breathing soot.
I'm breathing soot, knees are jacked up, hitting the ground, hurting, whatever. Talking to normal people, they'll never get it, so I don't even explain it to them. But this is why I call cap success. I'm talking financial success. For me to continue having that willpower, the second I just become a speaking monkey and travel around and speaking gigs 12 months out of the year, put camps on, do this, put on lectures, get supplement lines and do this and write more books. I've ruined the exact thing I worked on my entire life. And while I didn't know it to the day, but something always told me, this is a very, very, very perishable skill, this willpower that you have, because I do have a willpower that I have never seen in anybody in my life. It is a haunting force that just keeps me going. And I know that that is my strength. If you have that, so that's worth every dime I've ever made in my life, is the fact that I can look a man in the eye finally and have a real conversation without going like this, because I'm lying or I'm a piece of shit, or I know, you know how a person, and so many people do this shit, they're talking to you on who they want to be. They're lying to you. And they walk away. I've done it so many times. You walk away like, God, man, why can't I just tell him the truth? Why the hell can I just tell him the truth? You know how good it feels for me now to look at you in your eye and every man I see. Because women won't get this. Women will not get this. Man to man, that man, you look another man in the eye and you know that everything you're fucking saying is real. And it comes from a real working place, something that you earned. It's the best feeling in the world.
Our personal philosophy comes from what we know, and from the process of how we came to know all that we currently know. Throughout our lives, we receive input from a multitude of sources. What we know comes from school, friends, associates, media influences, home, the streets. It comes from books and the process of reading. And it comes from listening and observing. The sources of knowledge and information that have contributed to the formation of our current philosophy are virtually unlimited. As adults, all of the new information that comes our way is examined through the filter of our personal philosophy. Those concepts that seem to agree with the conclusions we have already reached are added to our storehouse of knowledge and serve to reinforce our current thinking. Those ideas that seem to contradict our beliefs are usually quickly rejected. We are constantly in the process of checking our pre-existing beliefs for accuracy or confirmation in the light of new information. As we blend the new with the old, the result is either the strengthening of our past beliefs or the broadening of our current philosophy in light of new and valuable information about life and people. The same beliefs that form our personal philosophy also determine our value systems. Our beliefs lead us to make certain decisions about what is valuable to us as human beings. As the day goes by, we choose to do whatever we think is valuable. If someone decides to start his day at 5 o'clock each morning in order to take advantage of opportunities that will enable him to provide his family with more of the good things in life, then what is that person really doing? He is doing what his philosophy has taught him is valuable. Conversely, someone who chooses to sleep until noon is also doing what he considers to be valuable. But the result from the two different philosophies, from the judgments people make about what is valuable, will be drastically different. We all have our own ideas about the things that affect our lives based on the information we have gathered over the years. Each of us has a personal view about government, education, the economy, our employer, and a host of other issues. What we think about these issues adds to our emerging philosophy and causes us to reach certain conclusions about life and how it operates. These conclusions then lead us to make specific value judgments, which determine how we will act on any given day and in any given circumstance. We have all made and will continue to make decisions based upon what we think is valuable. Whether the decisions we are making will lead us toward inevitable success or unavoidable failure depends on the information we have gathered over the years to form our personal philosophy. In the process of living, the winds of circumstance blow on us all in an unending flow that touches each of our lives. We have all experienced the blowing winds of disappointment, despair, and heartbreak. Why then would each of us in our own individual ship of life, all beginning at the same point, with the same intended destination in mind, arrive at such different places at the end of the journey? Have we not all sailed upon the same sea? Have we not all been blown by the same winds of circumstance and buffeted by the same turbulent storms of discontent? What guides us to different destinations in life is determined by the way we have chosen to set our sail. The way that each of us thinks makes the major difference in where each of us arrives. The major difference is not circumstance. The major difference is the set of the sail. The same circumstances happen to us all. We all have those moments when, in spite of our best plans and efforts, things just seem to fall apart. Challenging circumstances are not events reserved for the poor, the uneducated, or the destitute. The rich and the poor have children who get into trouble. The rich and the poor have marital problems. The rich and the poor have the same challenges that can lead to financial ruin and personal despair. In the final analysis, it is not what happens that determines the quality of our lives. It is what we choose to do when we have struggled to set the sail and then discover, after all of our efforts, that the wind has changed direction. When the winds change, we must change. We must struggle to our feet once more and reset the sail in the manner that will steer us toward the destination of our own deliberate choosing. The set of the sail, how we think and how we respond, has a far greater capacity to destroy our lives than any challenges we face. How quickly and responsibly we react to adversity is far more important than the adversity itself. Once we discipline ourselves to understand this, we will finally and willingly conclude that the great challenge of life is to control the process of our own thinking. It involves going to work on establishing a powerful personal philosophy that will help to influence in a positive way all that we do and all that we think and decide. If we can succeed in this worthy endeavor, the result will be a change in the course of our income, bank account, lifestyle and relationships, and in how we feel about the things of value as well as the times of challenge. If we can alter the way we perceive, judge, and decide upon the main issues of life, then we can dramatically change our lives.